WHPR TV is now on demand. Catch us when you want, how you want, where you want. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Watch your favorite TV shows on demand. And be sure to download the WHPR app. We're now on demand at your demand. WHPR TV Detroit On Demand.com, a Watkins Broadcasting Company.
Hey Detroit, it's time to rise and be part of the 10th annual Arise Detroit Neighborhoods Day, Saturday, August 6th, in neighborhoods all over the city. Hundreds of organizations and thousands of volunteers will participate with health fairs, concerts, festivals, back-to-school events, cleanup projects, and more. Register today at www.arisedetroit.org. That's www.arisedetroit.org or phone 313-921-1955 and be part of the change. And welcome to tonight's edition of the Rise Detroit Neighborhoods TV show. We're so glad to be here, and thanks to WHPR for making this opportunity available to us. This is the place to learn about what the people in the neighborhoods are doing and how to be part of the 10th annual Arise Detroit Neighborhoods Day, which will be Saturday, August 6th in neighborhoods all over the city. Got an exciting show for you here. We're going to have Mr. Aaron McCarthy, Reverend Aaron McCarthy, who is the president of the newly re-energized Detroit chapter of the SCLC, Southern Christian Leadership Conference, who's doing some great things, and we're partnering with him in connection with Neighborhoods Day. So we're going to introduce you to him very shortly. And I want to just again update you again on what Neighborhoods Day is, because I understand they're getting calls at the station. People don't understand what it is. Well, number one, there's nothing like Neighborhoods Day any place in America. Only in Detroit. We started 10 years ago with the idea that we want to celebrate the people and the neighborhoods and the programs and people all over the city who are doing great things throughout the year, working with kids, seniors, in education, what have you. So we created this always on the first Saturday of August. On this day, we said, guess what? We're going to ask all the churches, all the block clubs, all the community organizations, all the small business to do something in your neighborhood to show how you're making a difference on this day. And guess what we said? We aren't going to tell you what to do. You decide what you want to do. If you want to do a health fair, do a health fair. If you want to do a festival, do a festival. If you want to do a cleanup, do a cleanup. If you want to have a back-to-school event, you can do that too. You can do whatever you want to do. We just want to promote you, celebrate you as part of this great event called Arise Detroit Neighborhoods Day. And it's grown to involve now hundreds of organizations and thousands of volunteers literally in every zip code in the city of Detroit. It's a day of pride, work, commitment, where things get done, where we celebrate what we do. But it's not just a celebration. It's also understanding that work needs to be done as we continue to push and deal with all issues, making our streets safer, beautifying our neighborhoods, working with our young people, protecting our seniors. If you care about this city, if you care about the neighborhoods, you absolutely must be part of Arise Detroit Neighborhoods Day. And it's an inspirational day that, again, the people in the neighborhoods have made. The mayor didn't make it. The foundations didn't make it. Mm-hmm. No preacher made it. The people in the neighborhoods, the Sorrento Block Clubs and the folks at Mac Alive and the folks down on Shane and Verner and all over this city have stepped up and say, you know what? We are proud, we are working, and we want the world to know that we care about our community, and not just care about it, we're willing to work to make it better. Now, some people get it confused. Neighborhoods Day is not just a cleanup day, though lots of cleanup things happen on that day. Last year, we had over 100 beautification projects. But again, we also have at least 6 festivals. This year, I think we're probably going to have more than 10 festivals all over the city. Art fairs, parades, back-to-school events with kids getting hundreds and hundreds of backpacks and school supplies. So if you're doing some of this stuff, if you're out there and you had a church or you have a block club or maybe you have a fraternity or sorority and you want to do something, you want to be part of this tremendous community service day that gets lots of positive publicity for the city of Detroit. And I'll talk more about how you can register on our website at arisedetroit.org. But right now, we're going to turn to our crack engineer. We're going to play you a short video from Neighborhoods Day a couple of years ago to give you an idea of how really unique and special this day is. So with that, we're going to cue the tape.
On the first Saturday in August, across the rising city of Detroit, people living in virtually every zip code of this vast metropolis are united, linked through their desire to keep hope alive by infusing their communities with the synergy to thrive.
We're here! We ain't going nowhere. The people of the city of Detroit are here. We're hard-working folk.
We're on TV a lot for guns and carjackings and whatnot. But there's a lot of people in the city who are doing things like running free medical clinics, running farmers markets, and doing repairs for neighbors. People need to know that.
I want the nation to know that we are Detroit and we are a great city. We're building, we're coming back.
Don't knock us off the map. We're still here. You know, everybody has their slump, and it just happens to be our turn. But we'll be back.
I believe in Detroit City.
Arise Detroit, be part of the change.
Throughout Michigan's still most vital city, people aren't just talking the talk, they're walking it too. They've become essential components of the coalition that is Arise Detroit, and they're using the message of their motto to produce a living, working juggernaut of change. Neighborhoods Day. Neighborhoods Day. Individuals and groups from all compass points that, through focused action and positive momentum, are reinvigorating Detroit.
It's happening across the city, wide. It's, an opportunity to get everybody on one page to, Arise Detroit.
We started with 55 in 2007 and it's grown steadily. Last year we had close to 170. This year we're topping 200. We have over 50 community cleanups. You have about 25 to 30 churches involved. We have community festivals, dozens of back-to-school events, health fairs, concerts, fencing exhibitions, sports, baseball, chess, golf, you name it, the whole tapestry of things that make a great community.
We always hear what's negative and bad, but this is a celebration about all that's good that goes on in our community, all the organizations that's doing good work, and Arise Detroit was just brilliant in coming up with this concept.
What began in 2007 with dozens of organizations and individual change agents scattered throughout the city had grown by 2012 into an amazing display of community pride. Hundreds of motivated organizations and literally thousands of engaged volunteers have brought a concerted effort to include most of Detroit's neighborhoods, get busy on their rebirth, and display to the world that Motown is no town without the vitality of its neighborhoods and the energy of its people.
For us, it means giving back to the community. We realize that the city of Detroit has to thrive in order for not only the metro Detroit area, but also the state as a whole to thrive.
And that's why I love Arise Detroit, because it brings to attention agencies who are out here every day doing this type of thing and encouraging people from the community to connect.
And I think everybody should be part of Arise Detroit's Neighborhoods Day. So the Peace Project, we got involved with Luther 3 years ago and adopted this park, so it's just giving back to the community.
A small army of volunteers went to work today, helping to make a big difference in a Detroit neighborhood. Local 4's Chauncey Glover has more on Arise Detroit Neighborhoods Day.
Neighborhoods Day. It's a story too good to miss. A day of give back and sweat equity. A day of different folks coming together to build and plant and laugh and clean and work. A day for the children, the seniors, and everybody in between. Some say that Detroit's best days are behind it, but these people are not those people. These are the doers, the believers, the neighborhood architects working the blueprint to construct Detroit's comeback.
So as Detroiters, of course we've seen the pitfalls of industry, but we've also seen those lightning bolts of hope, which is Arise Detroit.
Arise Detroit is especially significant because it's about empowering our community. at the end of the day, what's good for the neighborhoods is good for the entire city.
But from the bottom of our hearts, thank you, and we love you guys. Love Detroit. Come on, y'all. We love Detroit.
And I hope you were inspired by that little video clip of Neighborhoods Day from a few years ago. And it's really gotten bigger since then. Last year we set a record with 256 registered events, community improvement projects of all kinds. First year in 2007 we had 55. We've grown each year. We definitely want you to be part of it. Again, the way to be part of Neighborhoods Day, go to our website, arisedetroit.org, and register. There's a $50 registration fee, but for that you're going to get a beautiful banner within your organization. You're going to get t-shirts. If you're doing a beautification or cleanup project, guess what? We're going to give you a voucher from one of our local hardware chains, so you'll get a minimum of $100 in supplies for your project. You'll put your event on our website. We'll assist you with volunteer recruitment. There are a lot of things that come with being part of this day. Or give us a call at Arise Detroit, 313-921-1955, 313-921-1955. You got to be part of this day. If you like about really into the neighborhoods and you're midtown, downtown, all right, be part of this day. Tell your friends. We want to, as a late, great Muhammad Ali once said, we want to shock the world with what Detroit is doing in the neighborhoods all over this city. So with that being said, we'll talk more about that later. And you can give us a call at the numbers on the screen, 868-4336 or 313-868-0351. Give us a call. Tell us what's going on in your neighborhood, how you can be part of Neighborhoods Day. All that is a way to set up my special guest for this evening, a man I'm excited to have. I haven't known that long, but I feel I know him well. He's like a friend, a brother, and a partner in the effort to transform Detroit. I'm talking about Reverend Aaron McCarthy, a former Detroiter, lived many years in Atlanta, has come back. He called me. He's a ball of fire, a ball of energy, doing great things and partying with us. So, Aaron, let me officially welcome to the Rise Detroit Neighborhood Show.
Thank you so much, Mr. Keith. SCLC is very excited to be a part of such an auspicious occasion and event. And whatever we can do to help you along and to help the community, we're here for you. We're excited.
Wonderful. And SCLC, Southern Christian Leadership Conference, is full of history, not just for Michigan and Detroit, for America. Share some of that with us and about how SCLC started and why is it relevant today and what are you trying to do with it here in Detroit?
Well, SCLC was actually started in 1957, but I can tell you that it actually began with Rosa Parks and Dr. Martin Luther King when he was 26 years old in Montgomery, Alabama, where he was selected to be the president of the Montgomery Improvement Association, where Mother Rosa Parks had been put off the bus, which was the wrong one to put off the bus because she was the secretary of the NAACP. And Dr. King led the march, and he became the face, the conscience of America. You know, the man was so obsessed with justice and being recognized, equality, that he was chosen to be the face of the American civil rights thing. And I'll tell you this, let me just say this. We here in Detroit, we're engaging on Dr. King's last initiative where he was killed 2 weeks before he initiated it, the Poor People's Campaign. The Poor People's Campaign, most people don't know what it's about, but the Poor People's Campaign is where Dr. King visited Marks, Mississippi, and he encountered pot-bellied babies, starving youth in classrooms where they shared for lunch one apple sliced into 12 slices, what made Dr. Martin Luther King cry for the first time in public, whereas hoses and dogs didn't even do that. And he embarked on the Poor People's Campaign. What we're doing here in Detroit, Mr. Keith, we're trying to unite. We're trying to unite the poor people who are the uncounted community here. And if we can unite enough of them, as you've seen the other day at the Poor People's Campaign downtown, just one shows an initiative and an interest in the poor community that they want to do better.
And what do you feel that, you know, it's not very popular to talk about poor people, certainly it doesn't get talked a lot about in our presidential campaign. Not to get into politics, I know I was up in Lansing during the Mackinac conference, and a few folks touched on it, but it was not like there was not a conference or a panel on how do we address poverty in Detroit or even in Michigan. So it's not necessarily very sexy to talk about poor people. Why do you think now is the time? And more importantly, what makes you think that the community will respond to this kind of a message?
Well, Mr. Keith, Detroit, Motown, the Motor City, is at a 39.3 level of poverty and beneath. This is the time right here where we need to unite and come together to try to turn that 39.3 poverty level into voting power. If they do unite on anything, that can turn that into 39% voting power. And I think the time is now that we do that because, like as you said, no one is touching on it. And I thank Mr. Wendell Anthony. I thank him for being one of the persons that recognize the fact that we are in a state of emergency, an unrecognized, ignored, unconcerned state of emergency.
And what will it take, you think, to galvanize people around this issue? How do we translate this passion? And I guess you said it with the voting power. So what do we have to do to get people? Because, you know, as you know, a lot of people, you know, our voting records and turnouts are atrocious. And a lot of people say, well, voting doesn't really change anything. So you're fighting a lot of apathy. You're fighting a lot of people may have given up. What tells you that this message can resonate now? What do we have to do to reach those people, to turn them around, to motivate them, to get them engaged like you want them to do?
What we've been going out into the community, Mr. Keith, and we've been talking to poor people that have no interest in voting because they say there's nothing in it for them. Now, if we can galvanize them and join them together, there would be something in there for them. There would be something for them to fight and look forward to just by voting. By voting, they would have, just uniting that, they would have the power to elect or reject anybody they want.
Right. And so how are you finding these poor people? Where are they? Just walking around the streets? Or how do you locate them? How do you get their attention?
We actually go up to them. We walk up to homeless people. We walk up to wine heads. We walk up, you can call them wine heads. We walk up to the people on walking the street, and we actually talk to them and ask them what their concerns are. And they will tell you. They will actually tell you that there's nothing in voting for them. But as I speak to them about what they could possibly do by uniting and registering to vote, they become interested.
And that's really a good point because, again, oftentimes homeless people, poor people are invisible. We celebrate money, we celebrate celebrity, we celebrate wealth. We don't celebrate poverty. Not that you should celebrate it, but we should definitely be paying attention to it and work on eradicating it. Now, if someone wants to get involved in your campaign, how can they contact you?
They can contact me at 313-686-4704, and someone will answer that phone and direct you to the proper person to talk to.
Okay, with that, we're going to go again to our PSA for Neighborhoods Day, and then we're going to talk a little bit with Reverend McCarthy about the involvement of the SCLC and his effort on Neighborhoods Day. So cue that one, and we'll be right back. Detroit's neighborhoods are doing some awesome things, and the world will see August 6th on the 10th annual Arise Detroit Neighborhoods Day. All over the city, hundreds of organizations and thousands of volunteers will participate by showing their community pride. With health fairs, concerts, festivals, back-to-school events, cleanup projects, and more. Show what your church, block club, or community group is doing to create a better Detroit. Registration is only $50 and includes banners, t-shirts, even vouchers for free supplies for your beautification projects. Register today at www.arisedetroit.org. That's www.arisedetroit.org or phone 313-921-1955 and be part of the change. Well, welcome back, and we're going to wrap up this last segment with talking about what Reverend McCarthy is doing about crime and creating peace in our community. You know, we've had some horrific events, but we also have, I think, seen a really engaged community with a lot of people, Teferi Brent, Malik Shabazz, and other folks who are really making a commitment. Derek Blackman with Black Family Development, other folks, to bring the community, heighten the community's awareness of what we need to do to make our community safe. And one of the things that we want to do on Neighborhoods Day, August the 6th, we want to have peace walks, peace rallies, peace events all over this city. And Reverend McCarthy is going to be in the forefront on this effort. And I know he's already been active on this. So Reverend McCarthy, share with our audience, if you will, what you've been doing and what you want to do as relates to Neighborhoods Day.
Well, what we've been doing, we've actually been doing what we called a peace movement, an urban peace movement. And what we want to do is and join you on the peace walk. And as we travel through these different neighborhoods, what we want to do is educate. We did 77 presentations last year where we were educating about violence and other options, different resolutions to instead of shooting. We have a problem right now where our youth, they're just gone wild. They've lost all concept of what's right and moral. So what we're doing as an organization was built off of nonviolence, we're teaching nonviolence. And as we travel with you, we're going to do a 3-mile stretch, a 3-mile block walk.
Now, I'm playing devil's advocate, as some people will say, how does marching stop somebody from shooting somebody?
Marching does not stop someone from shooting somebody. Education does. Educating them about what they're doing. We have young people that we've talked to and mentored that were just straight out violent. But after someone talked to them instead of down to them, their attitudes change. And you can reach them then.
This is really near and dear to my heart, and I've written a lot about this. And one of the things I wrote recently that I got a lot of response to, I wrote a piece entitled "The Killers Don't Care." The killers don't care about marches, rallies, protests, tears, vigils, editorials. They don't care. All they care about is getting over. And there are a lot of conditions we know. If you listened, had a chance to look at the new miniseries of Roots, which lays out, a foundation was laid that created a lot of the scenario, the social structure that still reverberates today. But that still is no excuse for somebody to come for you and stick a gun in your face and say, hey, brother, the racism is getting to me, so I got to take your wallet. That does not work. But I do think that you're right. Education is right. Editorials don't stop shootings. Marches can play a role if they lead to education. Even you think about Dr. King, which you knew, those marches in Selma and in the South, they laid the groundwork for the legislation to change the country's mindset. And quite frankly, we need to engage more people. We can't, as I said, as I wrote, we can't say, well, that's just Detroit. Somebody's got to get shot. Somebody's got to die. No, that's unacceptable, because when it's your loved one, you're going to be on TV, as we have heard so many times, saying this has to stop. But you can't wish away violence. You can't dream away violence. You have to work to end it. And that's why I really applaud what you're doing, Reverend McCarthy, because you're engaging people. And, one of the things that I recall from my days as a sports writer, people are always going to tell you what you can't do, what you can't overcome. I often say history is a story of the impossible being made possible. It's impossible until somebody does it. So who's to say that we cannot cut the crime in Detroit in half? The police can't do it themselves. We have to do it. We have to say enough is enough and join hands with Reverend McCarthy, Malik Shabazz, Teferi Brent, so many others who are out there, many others out there, Reverend Maurice Hardwick, who I was hoping to have on this show, but we hope to have him in the future with the Live in Peace movement. We have to continue to lock horns and not let people tell us that, oh, well, that's, there's nothing we can do about it. So I applaud you for the fact that you've come in and said, hey, we are going to do this. Why did you pick this particular initiative to bring to Detroit as you re-enter the Detroit as an active organization?
Because our city is the biggest and poorest large city in the country, and there's no excuse for it. If we all band together, there's so many affluent leaders here that we have here. We just need to engage them. If we can just get them to engage. I haven't seen anyone engage. I see a lot of people coming into the neighborhoods now for votes. But what are they going to do with the votes?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's very important. Again, you can't do this by yourself. That's the other thing. You can't save this thing by yourself. But we need, it's like fighting a war. You know, you have to attack it on a lot of different fronts. So we need a Navy, we need an Army, we need an Air Force,
Yes.
we need some submarines,
Yes.
we need some stormtroopers to storm
Yes.
the beaches. We need everybody doing it. There are a lot of organizations. We've got Crime Stoppers out there, Black Family Development out there. So a lot of ways. But I really want to think that on Neighborhoods Day, with all the other things that we've done, this is not the first time, but on the scale that we plan to do it on August 6th, we want to let everybody to see that this is a community. We aren't going to take it. We aren't going to accept it. We aren't going to look the other way. I don't want to hear some excuses about, oh, brother, I'm sorry, I got to do this, but I got to make mine. I got to feed mine. No, that's not the right way to do it, and that's unacceptable, I believe, in our community. And I know for a fact that there are many, many people, most people in this town, feel the same way. But if you just sit there and say, too bad, nothing's going to change. And it's hard to get up out of your comfort zone and get engaged. And that's why I really appreciate you, Reverend McCarthy, because you have said, look, I'm going to get involved. And this is not a competition. Sometimes, you know, you get involved in community work.
Yes.
Folks think, oh, why are you doing that? We're already doing this. We're already
Yes.
doing that. Well, you know what? We still got a lot of work to do.
We have a lot of work to do, Mr. Keith, and Dr. King did not have one special area that he worked in. So we work in all areas. There's no locking into one area.
Right, exactly. There's a place for all of us to get involved, to engage, and we certainly hope you will do that. Certainly be part of Neighborhoods Day. Go to our website at risedetroit.org and register, or give us a call at 313-921-1955. Tell your friends, be part of this day. Help create a better community for our children, for our seniors, for all of us, because we want the whole world to look upon Detroit as a shining star that has rebuilt itself, has come together, is loving each other,
Amen.
and creating a place where other folks want to come and emulate. And we can do that. I know it's happening in pockets all over the city, but we can't do it without you. So we need you. Like Uncle Sam said, we need you. And with that, we're going to see you next week here, same time, same station here on the Rise Detroit Neighborhood Show. Be part of the change, folks. Don't sit at home. Get into the game, and let's make the world and our community a better place.